Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 69th Annual Writers Guild Awards. We wish to remind you that this is a text and tweet-free zone. Please do not share tonight's results during the ceremony. Prove you can show more discipline than our president, and put your phones away for a few hours. Thank you. And now your host, playwright, author, comedian, actor. He was the voice of anger in Pixar's Inside Out and was also the voice of anger in literally every other thing he's ever done. Here's Lewis Black.
They're serious about the tweeting and texting shit, so cut it out. And I'm serious. They want to keep the nation, they want the nation to have a mystery tonight. So here we are, and this is a big night, a big night. I don't know if you realize it, but the fashion statements you are making here will not be seen by more people than all those fashion statements that are made at all the other award shows combined. Now let me just start again by saying, can we please get this over as quickly as possible? Because I need new screeners. I'm done. And I'm begging you, stop sending scripts. I saw the movie, asshole. I haven't time to read your script. My days are full. I have to deal with my website and my Facebook page. I have to tweet. I got to log into Instagram. I have my erotic blog. I still have to figure out fucking Snapchat, for fuck's sake. Who's got the time to read? You should know, and I mean this, that I am a proud member of the Writers Guild. And since I've never been nominated for anything by you, I know that you know what you're doing. You've got taste. And at $50 a year, my membership is a steal. Be that as it may, I could not be more honored to be here as the host of the Writers Guild Awards. It seemed like such a great idea when I got the call. And then as tonight approached, I realized that, fuck, I'm appearing in front of the most jaded group of assholes in the world. They'll be rewriting every line mid-sentence and fully judging everything I say. What the fuck was I thinking? And you have every right to be judgmental. Nobody gets judged more than you. Donald Trump couldn't handle what you handle. Judged by everyone, from half-witted critics who can't figure out Final Draft, to Amazon reviewers, to bloggers filling pages on fartybobo.com and suckmyhooha.org. I have a tremendous amount of admiration for all of you. Even in this golden age of television, you continue to walk into soulless offices and pitch ideas to folks who've never had ideas, except where to eat lunch. Having to come up with insane oversimplifications just to make it clear to the clueless. Well, you see, it's like La La Land meets Triumph of the Will. Only grimmer. Richard Dresser was actually told by an exec that a script he wrote for me was too funny for FX. I don't think that fucking sunk in. How can something be too funny? Have you no imagination at all to come up with a better reason than that? Like, hey, this is a piece of shit. At this point, seriously, While I was writing, President Trump's press conference came on, and I sat down and watched it, and my brain froze for about an hour and a half. Once again, I was forced to realize that we are living at the intersection of satire and reality. Too funny? How am I supposed to make that shit show funnier? We are living in fictional times. Meaning, if you were to take the reality we are living in and make it into a movie and you saw the movie, you'd say, great movie. What the hell is fiction anymore when our reality comes off as fiction? Good luck with that one, fuckers. I am amazed that not one writer jumped on this when he said he was going to run. None of us had the imagination to imagine this. The idea didn't appeal to any of us. Maybe we couldn't create the menagerie of characters he surrounded himself with. Kellyanne Alternative Facts Conway. She's not the person you hire when you need to explain what a crazy man meant. She's the person you need to get when you want to get rid of your daughter's cheerleading rival. Ben Carson, the first time I heard him speak, I thought, wow, I could have been a brain surgeon. Rick Perry runs twice to be the president, second time with glasses, says he wants to get rid of the Department of Energy, but can't remember its name. Then he leaves the race to join the cast of Dancing with the Stars. Trump sees him on the show, says, wow, he's got a lot of energy. Let's put him in charge of that department. And Rick Perry says yes. Now he's in charge of our nuclear stockpile. This shit writes itself. Steve Bannon, look, I don't care about Breitbart. You know why he scares me? Because he looks like how I feel when I have a hangover. And the big baby himself, Donald Trump, it's actually an insult to call him a baby because babies have more control over their colon than he has over his mouth. And that's a hell of a movie, and this is only the trailer. All we can do is keep typing words into the universe. And I know at times it may not seem like much, but what you all do, and I believe this is important, it's vital. You create realities. It's the bloodstream that carries thoughts and visions and makes us better in the end. For God's sakes, you're the people who give us something to do when we have the flu. Keep up the great work. And fuck them if they can't take a joke. Thank you.
Our first presenter is a star of Orange is the New Black and a Tony winner. Just last week, she won a Grammy for the cast album of the Broadway revival of The Color Purple. She acts, she sings, and she gives out awards. Please welcome Danielle Brooks.
Hey, I'm already out here. Hey, y'all. WGAE Awards, I am so happy to be here with you all. Y'all are here in the room. So I thought, there's a lot of names that we'll be saying today, and I thought it would only be right to bring out a model to help me introduce some of these names. And I got something better than Ashley Graham. I got something better than Naomi Campbell. I have my friend Bill, everybody. Give it up to Bill. So let's get this started. While recovering from cancer surgery, a radio DJ confronts her mother's death. Parents struggle to find an accepting educational environment for their son who has cerebral palsy. a Princeton dropout, battles to make a better life for himself and his daughter. A woman reclaims her life after 15 years in a cult, and a warrior tries to reconnect with his son and his ex-wife. And that can only mean the award for episodic comedy. Yay! I'm so funny, right? And the nominees for episodic comedy are Kimmy Finds Her Mom, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, written by
Tina Fey and Sam Means.
Kimmy Goes on a Playdate, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, written by
Robert Carlock.
Pilot, One Mississippi, written by
Diablo Cody and Tig Notaro.
R-A-Y-C-R-A-cation, Speechless, written by
Carrie Rosen and Seth Kurland.
Streets on Lock, Atlanta, written by
Stephen Glover.
A Taste of Zephyriah, Son of Zorn, written by
Dan Mintz.
And the award goes to Robert Carlock from Kimmy Goes on a Playdate, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Thank you so much. Hi, thank you. That was nice. I thought our buddy Donald Glover was going to get that. You told me that was going to happen, Tina. I am with our host and hoping that this will end quickly, so I won't talk for a long time, but I do. Usually Tina is up here at a microphone being hilarious. I want to thank her for bothering to work with me all those years ago. We are lucky as Americans to have her. She is a partner and the funniest person I know, I just want to acknowledge because no one ever recognizes Tina Fey, really. She doesn't get attention. If you go to an airport, her book's not still fucking on sale at the bookstore there at the Hudson News. And I also want to thank our writers, because this is very much a group process that I have so much fun leading or directing or trying to do that. They're great, and they did like 10% of this, so they deserve some of your recognition. Thank you so much.
So our next category brings award shows full circle, with writers who've written award shows competing for an award for writing award shows. Everyone gets a trophy. It also honors, I'm so glad y'all are laughing, thank you. It also honors the work of a beloved political commentator, the fearless, foul-mouthed, cigar-smoking dog puppet who put the people pundits to shame. In the category of Comedy Variety Music Awards and Tribute Specials, the nominees are 68th Primetime Emmy Awards, written by
Jack Allison, Tony Barbieri, Jonathan Bynes, Joel Bukai, Robert Cohen, Gary Greenberg, Josh Holloway, Sal Icano, Eric Immerman, Jimmy Kimmel, Bess Kalb, Jeff Loverness, John Max, Molly McNierney, Danny Ricker, Jeff Stilson, Joe Struzzulo, Alexis Wilkinson.
73rd Annual Golden Globes Awards, written by
Barry Edelman. Special material written by Dave Boone, Ricky Gervais, John Max, Matthew Robinson.
88th Annual Academy Awards, written by
Dave Boone, That Man Again, Billy Kimball. Special material written by Scott Ackerman, Rodney Barnes, Neil Campbell, Matthew Claybrooks, Lance Crowther, Mike Ferrucci, Langston Kerman, John Max, Steve O'Donnell, Nimish Patel, Vanessa Ramos, Chris Rock, Frank Sebastiano, Chuck Sklar, Jeff Stilson, Richard Voss, Michelle Wolf.
Triumph, the Primary Election Special 2016, written by
Andy Breckman, Josh Comers, Raj Desai, David Feldman, R.J. Freed, Jared Grody, Ben Joseph, Matthew Kirsch, Michael Coleman, Mike Lawrence, Brian Rich, Craig Rowan, Robert Smigel, Zach Smilovitz, David Taylor, Andrew Weinberg. Additional materials by Ray James, Jesse Joyce, Jason Reish, Alex Scordelis.
Woo! Better him than me. And the award goes to, drum roll, the writers of Triumph, the Primary Election Special 2016.
Sorry. Parade of Jews. Here they go. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. So, all right. Well, look, Triumph's going to perform. I'm going to degrade myself under that thing about probably 2 hours. And a lot of the jokes had to do with losing, so we have some fucking work to do. You know what's really nice about winning this is that people for years have told me how funny I was being Triumph, and I try to tell them that there's a million amazing joke writers. This guy created Monk, Andy Richter. What's wrong with me? Andy Breckman. Josh Comer's longtime Conan writer. Amazing. This is Michael Coleman. He created Nathan For You. This is David Feldman, one of the funniest stand-up comics that you don't like. Right over here. Thank you. And it takes a village to hurt people this badly. It really does. So I don't want to make this, although I wouldn't mind. No, I'm not going to thank my father. I'm not going to thank my father who turned me on to comedy and was my hero. I just recently lost him, but I'm not thanking him. This is about us. Nor am I going to thank my wife, who I couldn't accomplish any of this with. She's one of the most wonderful people on the planet, and I'm not going to thank her, even though I would have a shot at having sex with her if I did thank her in front of a room full of strangers. It's been a long time. It would really be good. You know what? Now I'm never going to have sex with her. I just realized. Okay, I take that joke back. Let's just rewind that joke. And we'll see you under there in a little while. Thank you so much. Thank you.
She's a veteran of the Huffington Post and MSNBC, and she's now the co-host of CBS Saturday Morning, which means it's already past her bedtime. Here's Alex Wagner.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
Hello from the American news media. It's a good night to be the enemy of the American people. People are sometimes surprised that the Writers Guild gives out awards for news writing. They are the same people who think the news writes itself. They could be forgiven for thinking that in this current administration. But it does not. It is real writing that is usually done under incredible pressure with impossible deadlines. And unlike in comedy or dramatic writing, you have to deal with facts. F-A-C-T-S. So we honor the nominees in these news categories not only for their outstanding writing, but because they honor the facts. The nominees for news script, regularly scheduled bulletin, or breaking report are Ambush in Dallas, World News Tonight with David Muir, written by David Block, Karen Mooney, David Muir, Dave Schutz, ABC News. Brussels Under Attack, World News Tonight with David Muir, written by David Block, Karen Mooney, David Muir, Dave Schutz, ABC News. Muhammad Ali, Remembering a Legend, 48 Hours, written by Jerry Cipriano, John Craig Wilson, CBS News. And the award goes to, this is so exciting, I've never done this before, Jerry Cipriano and John Craig Wilson for Muhammad Ali, Remembering a Legend.
very much. Just very quickly, Alex, thank you. I work for Alex on Saturday, so it's a delight to see her.
arrives in the tank.
So it's great. First of all, Jerry can't be here tonight, so let me thank Jerry, one of the best writers in the television news business, my colleagues at ABC for their amazing contributions tonight. And let me just finally thank this is my second award. My first one, my wife couldn't be here. She's here tonight. So Mary Lou, thank you very much. I love you. Thank you.
Okay, the nominees for on-air promotion, television, new media, or radio are Big Brother Over the Top launch and NCIS, Special Agent Tony Donazzo's Top Moments, written by Ariel Tompkins, CBS. CBS On-Air Reel, written by Brian Retchless, CBS On-Air Promotion. It's not just because of me that there are all these CBS nominations, I swear. The Doll Maker, Halloween, written by Jennifer H. Koss, NBC. Limitless Promos, 1516 CBS, written by Jessica Katzenstein, CBS On-Air Promotion. Mom, written by Dan Greenberger, CBS. And the award goes to Brian Retchless for CBS On-Air Reel. Brian could not be here tonight, but I'll take the award and give it to him at the office. Okay, finally, in the news script, analysis, feature, or commentary category, we have just one nominee, Thomas A. Harris for CBS Sunday Morning Almanac. When this dude writes, even Meryl Streep doesn't get nominated. And so, the winner for news script, analysis, feature, or commentary is Thomas A. Harris. CBS Sunday Morning Almanac, June 12th of last year.
Well, please pardon the cane. It's a short-term affectation following some hopefully not too serious surgery. I'd like to thank the Guild for the award and also for my special friends in the vote counting unit there, Vladimir and Cozy Bear. I'd also like to thank CBS and particularly everyone at Sunday Morning, including executive producer Rand Morrison, who for some reason have let me write pretty much whatever I wanted to write for Sunday Morning for years and years and years without much adult supervision, for which I'm very thankful. And I'd like to thank my wife, Joan, who's way in the back. She is also a Writers Guild member, and the two of us met during the great news writers' strike of 1987. So I don't think there can be much more of a Writers Guild story than that. So anyway, thank you very much.
Our next presenter wrote one episode of The Simpsons and 1 billion episodes of The Letterman Show. He's a nominee tonight for Maya and Marty, but he's best known as the world's foremost authority on industrial musicals, Steve Young.
When the Guild asked me to present the Herb Sargent Award for Comedy Excellence to my dear friend Steve O'Donnell, my reaction was, wow, what an honor for him and for me. Getting to do this for him makes me feel like I've won an award myself. And best of all, nothing for me to dust or polish. 27 years ago, this spring, oh, it did better than I thought. 27 years ago this spring, Steve hired me as a writer for Late Night with David Letterman. But my very first encounter with him was 3 years earlier when I was about to graduate from college, and I doubt he remembers it. I was an aspiring comedy writer, and somehow I got Steve's phone number at the Letterman offices. One afternoon I called him, cheerfully oblivious to the fact that the head writer of a nightly television program might not have time to chat with random callers. And yet, I got him on the phone. I said something like, "Hi, my name's Steve Young. I'm hoping to be a comedy writer and I wanted to ask you a question." Without missing a beat, he said, "The answer is yes. It does hurt the fish when you take the hook out of its mouth." And I thought to myself, whoa, that's weird and actually kind of awesome. I don't recall even exactly what my question was or what else he said, though I'm sure it was encouraging. But I've always remembered his ability to instantly execute a mental left turn and casually toss it out to a complete stranger. Steve's comedy genius is abundant. His credits, Letterman, Seinfeld, The Simpsons, Chris Rock, Jimmy Kimmel, give you some sense of it, but it's in person, moment by moment, that you understand that he's an original, a dynamo, a comedic force of nature. He's been a huge influence on my sensibility and that of so many others. But the Herb Sargent Award also recognizes those who've mentored new writers, and Steve certainly did that for me. His kindness in taking my phone call was just the beginning. When he hired me at late night, he saw glimmers of potential, but that potential needed to be sharpened and polished. Again and again, he patiently explained why this idea wasn't quite right, or how that joke didn't quite land, helping me along the rocky path of getting better. And it paid off. Between 1990 and 2015, I had over a dozen jokes on the show. And when the Guild announced that Steve was getting the award, my Facebook feed filled up with tributes from friends and colleagues with similar stories. I showed him a writing packet, and he graciously critiqued what worked and what didn't. Steve was so generous with his time when I was starting out. He really made me reconsider the ethics of fishing. In these dark and unsettled times, we can at least feel great about the fact that this honor is going to the right person. While I pity any speaker who has to follow my blistering performance. But we have someone who's going to try. Here's a videotaped message from another friend and colleague of Steve's.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm going to pretend people are actually applauding now. Thank you. No, that's too much. Please, ladies and gentlemen, settle down. Come on, you're making fools of yourselves now. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Where is this being held?
It's at the Edison, yeah.
The Edison.
Edison Ballroom, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, the Edison. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be part of this wonderful night. On behalf of our colleague, my good friend, former head writer, tremendously creative man, Steve O'Donnell. I understand you're there at the Edison. Anyway, I wish I could be there, but I'm here at my new job. I'm working at Dick's. Oh, what an evening, though. Am I right? It's like the Rose Parade. Listen, tonight, the Writers Guild of America, which, by the way, I've been a member of for decades, and proud of the affiliation and grateful for the representation. We're giving Steve O'Donnell, a good friend of mine, the Herb Sargent Award. I've known Steve for quite a long time, and the Herb Sargent Award, I think, really typifies what we have in Steve O'Donnell as a writer and as a man. Here was a guy endlessly creative, endlessly funny, and also quite patient. He worked for me. We worked together for quite a long time, and I remember when things would get a little tense around the office, he would always do this. So for this and quite a long list of other reasons that I didn't want to take the trouble to write down, congratulations to you, Steve. The other thing I know, and I don't even know if this should be mentioned, but your first wife hated me. So enjoy the night, Steve. It's all about you. Congratulations on the Herb Sargent Award. No one that I know more deserving, no greater representative of the Writers Guild of America than my good friend, Steve O'Donnell. Congratulations, Steve.
Dave Letterman, how about that? Imagine having that many basketballs. That guy has done okay for himself. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce your Herb Sargent Award winner by a nearly 3 million popular vote margin, Steve O'Donnell.
I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life.
Steve, may I embrace you in a comradely fashion? I don't really remember being encouraging to young writers. A bunch of punks, most of them seemed like to me. Maybe on a staff sometime, I was trying to con them into doing my work for me, and they thought that was encouraging, you know. But my memory's starting to go, so maybe it did happen. My eyesight's starting to go too, so that's why I wrote out what I wish to say. I'm not a performer, I'm not an actor, I'm a writer, and I'm going to be depending on writing, as I believe everyone should. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Steve Young. Believe it or not, I have seen this man in black leather pants standing on a table in a writer's room, gyrating, imitating Jim Morrison more than once. I'm fortunate in your friendship and in this. I'm immensely grateful and moved, honored, dazed, and incredulous. And I want to say thanks to Dave Letterman for giving me that stately and ludicrous introduction a minute ago. And also thanks to Dave Letterman for giving me that first job 35 years ago. You know, bearded Dave looks like a philosopher now, but in fact, I always found him to be the quickest, the smartest, the most interesting, and skeptical, wise man that I knew, but with a sweetly goofy sense of the absurd. And he's pretty good on the drums and does a fine Jimmy Stewart impression. It's been 20 years since I worked on Dave's show, and I have to say I still dream about it almost every night. Tonight, I'm Midwesternly mortified, and perhaps there's been a mistake, because compared to the other people you're going to see on this stage tonight, they're Coca-Cola and I'm Royal Crown Cola, and they're Miami Beach and I'm Gainesville. They're a Stephen King novel, I'm a Dean Koontz novel. I'm not even Curly Joe Besser, I'm more of a Curly Joe Dorita. But maybe the Guild confused me with Merrill Markoe, the original head writer on Late Night. She created so many wonderful, innovative visual bits like dog poetry. I'm just going to quote freely. Poetry from the dog's point of view. My empty supper dish mocks me. There's a tick on my back the size of an olive. And in the 1980s, as a joke, we entered one of her dog poems into the Bulgarian International Humor Competition. I still want it. Can you enter something in a humor competition as a joke? But Merrill won a big communist trophy, and I still think of her as either the world's most artistic comedy writer or the world's funniest artist. Maybe the Guild mixed me up with Jim Downey, the intelligent and original, a great mentor and exemplar. Jim should be honored by the WGAE many times over, and maybe he has been, but I don't read the emails from the Guild if they're not about free movie screenings. Could you be thinking of the singular Bill Sheft? He's got to be the only member of the Writers Guild who is conversant in ancient Latin and Greek, as well as being fluent in Shecky, Morty, and Dino. He writes monologue, he writes novels, he's brainy and borschte. Maybe you confused me with my own twin brother, Mark O'Donnell, which would be understandable because we're identical. Such a writer and so handsome. The implausible platoon of persons I've been privileged to work alongside, just a quick sampling, and hey, maybe you're in here. Longtime Kimmel writer Rick Rosner, a former male stripper and a frequent volunteer for free plastic surgery. He claimed to have the highest IQ ever tested in North America, and yet I routinely saw him eating sandwiches out of the office trash can. Chris Elliott, the most wonderful writer and a loony performer. So many nights after work at Letterman, we'd go down to have drinks at Lindy's, and Chris would send dessert plates of flan over to complete strangers. And when the waiter would point over to Chris, he would look at the out-of-towners and give them a suave and sinister eyebrow lift. On the Chris Rock show, I delighted in Wanda Sykes. Her office was next to mine, and through the wall, I would sometimes hear her shouting things, I presume in character, like, "Who the fuck sat on my church hat?" And on first meeting young Jake Lentz, he convincingly made a case to me against panda bears. And now, I hate the wretched things as much as he does. And that is word power, my friends. He has since dropped out of comedy writing and has gone to medical school and says he wants to help people. It takes all kinds. Comedy writers, they are the best people and the worst people. Big children, most of them, griping, moaning, seeing things on the air. Oh, that was just like the idea that I pitched. Well, almost. They have infantile tastes in food. My one-time partner on the Dana Carvey show, Spike Ferriston, bragged to me once he had never tasted an olive. That's my second olive reference, and I'll clean that up in the final draft. The names of writers, like music to me: Wheezy Palanker, Nefertiti Lovelace, Monica Padrick, Ellie Barancic, Hugh Moore. There's a terrific comedy writer named Hugh Moore. Several David Cohens, a couple of Chris Kellys, horrible, wonderful, delightful, rich company. Why do I thrill to the ecstasy of your shop talk, the joy of your companionship, and all the happiness your palaver has given me? For all that and this, my sisters and brothers in the Guild, I thank you.
You've seen him in Newsroom, Brokeback Mountain, and Revolutionary Road. And now he's Chief Jim Hopper in Stranger Things. They say never act with kids or demigorgons, but he's done both. Here's David Harbour.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. The television series nominated for long-form adapted tackle difficult subjects, including guilt, responsibility, and trust. They deal with both real people, like Bernie Madoff and O.J. Simpson, and fictional characters, like Kunta Kinte and James Franco. For outstanding writing, long-form adapted, the nominees are 11/22/63, written by Bridget Carpenter, Bridget Hales, Joe Henderson, Brian Nelson, and Quentin Peebles, based on the novel by Stephen King. The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story, written by Scott Alexander, Joe Robert Cole, DeSantis, Maya Forbes, Larry Karanzewski, Wally Wolodarski, based on the book The Run of His Life by Jeffrey Toobin. Madoff, written by Ben Robbins, inspired by the book The Madoff Chronicles, Inside the Secret World of Bernie and Ruth by Brian Ross. The Night Of, written by Richard Price, Steve Zalian, based on the BBC series Criminal Justice, created by Peter Moffat. Roots, written by Lawrence Connor, Alison McDonald, Charles Murray, and Mark Rosenthal, based on the book by Alex Haley. And the award goes to the writers of The People vs. O.J. Simpson, An American Crime Story. And now for the letdown, they will be accepting in LA, so no texting. From the deep family trauma at the center of Fences and the broken marriage of nocturnal animals to the tortured anti-hero at the heart of Deadpool, this year's adapted screenplay nominees address the key questions of our times. What does it mean to be an overlooked NASA scientist, a distraught linguist, a haunted art gallery owner, an unkillable superhero, or a failed ex-con baseball player? Amazingly, every one of those roles played by Amy Adams. The nominees for adapted screenplay are Arrival, screenplay by Eric Heiserer, based on the Story of Your Life by Ted Chiang. Deadpool, written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, based on the X-Men comic books. Fences, screenplay by August Wilson, based on his play. Hidden Figures, screenplay by Allison Schroeder and Theodore Melfi, based on the book by Margot Lee Shetterly. Nocturnal Animals, screenplay by Tom Ford, based on the novel Tony and Susan by Austin Wright. And the award goes to, hopefully it's a New York person, Eric Heiserer for Arrival. And accepting for Eric is Arrival executive producer, Milan Popelka.
I have a hard time pronouncing that too. It's an honor to accept this on behalf of Eric, who wrote this bold, unforgettable, just beautiful screenplay. On behalf of the filmmaking team, we wanted to say thank you to the Guild and also to Paramount that have been wonderfully supportive of this movie. Thank you very much.
Please welcome back our host, Louis Black.
I realize this is a little, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this. But I've worked for 20 years on The Daily Show. And don't applaud yourselves, you fucking idiots. 20 years and they learned nothing from me. But I'd be remiss, rarely do you get a public forum to thank the people who, I've spent 20 years working with them, and I want to just take a moment to thank all of the writers who've worked on all of the Back in Blacks, because they deserve as much credit as I do. If anybody would like a sinus infection, you can kiss me after the show. I just thought this was an interesting story, and because I got to do 3 minutes here, so I thought this story might, in light of everything, I came here as a playwright in 1981, and CBS had a thing where they actually tried to help playwrights transition to writing for television. And there were 6 meetings. One was with Peter Stone, a brilliant writer whose main advice was change your agent every 2 years. Another was the Nielsen people, and then there was a whole group, and it was very, very interesting. And at the end is the bonus round. You would be able to pitch your idea to a CBS executive. And I went in for the meeting, and he said, what's your idea? And I said, I'm not going to tell you. And he said, no, come on, really? I said, I know what you're going to tell me, so let's just chat. I just wanted to tell you this was a nice thing you did. It's not going to work for me, because my idea is you're not going to want my idea. Oh, let me be the judge of that. I'm telling you, this isn't going to happen. And then he said, what's your idea? And I said, my idea is, and this is like 1981, I said, what I'd like to do is, if you remember, that was the week that was, maybe, now Reagan has just been elected president, maybe this might be a good time to bring back a show like that. And he said, and I quote, politics aren't funny. And I said, I told you, and go fuck yourself. Thanks a lot, see you later.
He appeared on The Good Wife and in 2 of tonight's nominated programs, The Americans and Confirmation. She played the mom on Freaks and Geeks and can currently be seen as the mom of another freak and geek in the last season of HBO's Girls. Here are Becky Ann Baker and Dylan Baker.
Song from my old show, Freaks and Geeks.
Well, yeah, they might have picked bad reputation because I've played some bad guys along the way. My share of pedophiles,
You're so lucky because all I get to play is moms.
Yeah, but neurotic, interesting moms. You're like the hipster Marion Ross.
The writers in this next category, new media short form original, always create some of the hippest work of the year. And the nominees for short form new media original are Episode 101, Now We're Talking, written by Tug Coker and Tommy Dewey. Escape the Room, Life Ends at 30, written by Michael Field. Itsy Bitsy Spider, Episode 1, Thug Passion, written by Matria Tomic. The Party, The Commute, written by Lindsay Stewart and Dane Clark. And the award goes to
Lindsay Stewart and Dane Clark for The Party.
They're accepting them.
And they're back in LA and enjoying this moment that someone will tweet out to them illegally. The shows nominated for this year's Best Comedy Series all share a common theme: characters struggling. A rapper and his crew struggling to make it in showbiz.
A young woman struggling to make a life for herself in New York.
Techies struggling to make it in Silicon Valley.
A father struggling to be a mother.
And a completely inept politician struggling to make it in the White House.
Which will be the theme of every nominee in the documentary category next year.
And the nominees for Best Comedy Series are Atlanta, written by Donald Glover, Stephen Glover, Jamal Allori, Stephanie Robinson, Paul Sims. Silicon Valley, written by Megan Amram, Alec Berg, Donna Carey, Adam County, Jonathan Doughton, Mike Judge, Carrie Kemper, John Levenstein, Dan Lyons, Carson Mell. How come yours only had one or two names? Dan O'Keefe, Clay Tarver, Ron Weiner. Transparent, written by Arabella Anderson, Bridget Bedard, Micah Fitzerman Blue, Noah Harpster, Jesse Klein, Stephanie Kornick, Ethan Cooperberg, Ali Liebegoat, Our Lady J, I like that one, Faith Soloway, Jill Soloway, and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, written by Emily Altman, Robert Carlock, Izzy Miradungi, Tina I'll go back, I'll try that later. Lauren Gerganis, Sam Means, Dylan Morgan, Melina Rodriguez, Dan Rubin, Meredith Scardina, Josh Siegel, Allison Silverman, Leela Strawn. And Veep, written by Rachel Axler, Sean Gray, Alex Gregory, Peter Hike, Eric Kenward, Billy Kimball, Steve Corin, David Mandel, Jim Margolis, Lou Morton, Georgia Pritchard, Will Smith, Alexis Wilkinson. And the award goes to...
For Atlanta. Donald Glover, Stephen Glover, Stephanie Robinson, Paul Sims, Jamal Allori.
Thank you, everybody. Donald's in London, and Stephen and Stephanie and Fam and Swank and Ibra and everyone are all in LA. But if they were here, I think Donald would probably thank Tina Fey and Robert Carlock for giving him his first writing job.
Yeah.
And Stephen and Stephanie would thank Donald.
Oh my God.
And someone would maybe thank me somewhere in there.
I will thank you, Paul.
That's why I brought it.
I will thank you. I also want you to know that your desserts are laced with sativa weed, so if you've eaten those, we did it to get you high so you would make sure our show won.
And then I think I would thank FX and all of you who voted for us and have been so nice to us. And my wife, who I love, I know it's not televised, that one doesn't count, but fine.
I would like to thank Paul's goatee because
Diane McGonigal and Keith and Zazie
And then
Donald.
finally, I'm very happy to be here tonight because I'd also like to thank Steve O'Donnell, who was just honored, who hired me 29 years ago at my first TV job also. And this is what it turned into. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Please welcome last year's recipient of the Richard B. Jablow Award for Service to the Guild. Here's WGA and Emmy Award-winning writer, Melissa Salmons.
Hello. Hi. The Richard B. Jablow Award honors devoted service to the Guild, and I'm so happy that our custom of succession means that I get to be the one to introduce you to this year's recipient, Courtney Simon. Courtney began her daytime writing career in 1980 after many years working as an actress, primarily in daytime. My favorite bit of trivia about Courtney's acting career is that she played psychiatrist on 4 different shows, which led to the inevitable magazine article dubbing her the Incredible Shrinking Woman. As a writer, she was in constant demand for 30 years. By the time she retired, she'd worked on just about every daytime serial ever. She won 7 Emmys and 7 Writers Guild Awards along the way. I had the pleasure of working in the trenches with Courtney on a few of those shows, and it gave me the chance to experience firsthand the qualities, apart from her talent, that have made her so valuable to any writing team and to the Guild as well. Courtney is simply a gracious, generous soul. She gives everyone in the room time to shine. She listens. She likes to collaborate, and she gets things done. Courtney and I were first elected to the council in 2007. Before we had figured out where we wanted to sit around the conference table, we were on strike. Courtney jumped in, serving on the strike committee for loans, and as a strike captain, she marched with her daughter, fellow writer Kate Hall, second-generation Guild member. Yes, yay, Kate. And in subsequent years, she has remained an active part of the council. And during that period of time where we helped change the culture of this guild and shape a new direction for it. She co-chaired the daytime committee through some very rough waters as that business contracted, working hard to balance the rights of writers with the desire to keep shows on the air. In addition to her ongoing work as a council member, she has been to Albany 4 times as part of our lobbying effort to help bring more diversity to writers' rooms and more of those writers' rooms to New York. She also serves on the awards committee. And as co-chair of the diversity committee. And here's what her colleagues there have to say. Whenever an important issue comes up at the awards committee, I always look across the table, and I'm glad to see Courtney there because she brings intelligence, objectivity, humor, and sanity to even the most difficult situations, and we all love her for it. That's Bonnie Datt, the co-chair and executive producer of the awards. Judy Tate, who's her co-chair on the diversity committee, sent me an essay. So I won't, don't worry, she will be shocked to find out she's been edited. But she calls Courtney an extraordinary partner. Says her dedication to opening doors and minds in our industry in an effort to employ more women, people of color, and writers of all ages is unmatched. She leads by example, guides with an open hand, and cracks jokes. I think of all her work with the Guild, I think the Diversity Committee is probably the thing that Courtney would be most likely to point to with pride. If she were like that, she's too polite to point. But that committee is having a genuine impact. In addition to just raising awareness and providing people a place to vent, that committee has created actual resources for members to become more connected to each other and work opportunities in the industry. One example is that input from that committee was instrumental in helping to create the Made in New York's Writers' Room Fellowship, which launched this past fall. Yeah, writers have submitted pilots, and 12 finalists will receive a 6-month paid fellowship where they will be mentored by New York-based showrunners. We all know how hard it is to truly move the needle on issues like diversity. You bump up against walls some people cannot even see, let alone think they have a part in supporting. And that's when it's a really good time to have a diplomat's daughter around, someone who listens, who guides with an open hand, and has jokes. So for all that and for all that she brings to the table and her steadfast, cheerful willingness to keep on working on behalf of all her fellow writers, it's my pleasure to present this year's Jablo Award to Courtney Simon.
Well, as Melissa's former editor, and she was what is known in the trade as an editor's dream, I certify there are no alternative facts in what she just said. Dangerous hyperbole, possibly, but that's not the same thing, right? Thank you, Melissa, for your kind words, your generous words. But more than that, thank you for the example you set for me back when we first joined the council, your enthusiasm, your fearlessness when it comes to asking tough questions. I will never fully match that, but it is something to shoot for, so bless you for that. Thanks also to the 1 in a million, no, make that 1 in a trillion staff of this guild. All of you who gently took me by the hand and taught me my ABCs. Your patience and encouragement have really touched my heart. I'm looking at you, although I don't know where you're sitting. Dana, Ruth, Marcia, Ann, Lowell, Jeff, Nancy, and more. Not to mention my fellow council members also, who inspire me at every meeting. You all taught me everything from how to create an agenda to how to lobby reluctant legislators. A skill that begins to seem more useful with each passing day. My other thanks tonight goes out to the soap opera community. The number of shows may have dwindled down to a precious few, but the writers and actors who make that world come alive continue to be some of the wiliest, funniest, fiercest, most tireless creators in this business. You are the marathon runners, as Agnes Nixon used to say, the ones with no hiatus and no pretensions and no writer's block because there is no time to get anything but down to business, which, come to think of it, might just be kind of a good lesson in life, something one might want to pass on to one's children, which I seem to have accidentally done with at least one of mine, because my daughter Kate, who's here tonight, decided a while back, to my enormous surprise, that she too wanted to be a soap opera writer. She's recently rejoined the General Hospital team and will be applauding along with me as they pick up their much-deserved award tonight. I have worked with almost all of these people myself, and they're the best. Fantastic job, guys. But there is one more reason that I need to thank the world of soap opera. Because back in the day, back when the shows still had organ music, yes, damn it, that is how near death I am. Way back then, they sent me to law school. Not real law school, of course. It was in the extremely fictional town of Henderson, USA. But I met a fellow law student there. And after enduring the usual complications any young couple has, like the time I had to defend him for murder and stuff, we got married twice on the show and once in real life. And in the real life portion, we lived happily ever after. I love you, honey. And he's greatly responsible for why I'm standing here tonight, because a few years ago, council elections rolled around and I decided I wasn't going to run again. It was time to step away, explore other options. He disagreed. I don't remember verbatim what he said because, you know, again, near death. But it was something on the order of, I just don't think you're done yet. So I ran again, and lo and behold, very soon afterwards, the Diversity Committee came along, and as Melissa told you, it's been the most exciting and fulfilling work I've done at the Guild, and I almost missed it. So I guess I'm not done yet. So thank you, Peter, and thanks to all my brothers and sisters for this immense honor. I promise to take very good care of it.
She's a writer and performer on Late Night with Seth Meyers, where she tells the jokes that Seth can't, and coined the phrase, join the fun after the election. Joining us tonight, Amber Ruffin.
Alright! Hey everybody! Y'all remember that movie Hoop Dreams? Y'all remember that movie Super Size Me? Okay, so think about those movies and play them in your ears but not in your eyes. And what do you have there? A radio documentary! Okay. Radio documentaries are great, but two of them are outstanding. Which two? Thank you for asking. They are Chernobyl, 30 years later, written by Andrew Evans, ABC News Radio. Summer of 2016, written by David Shapiro, CBS News Radio. Woo! Now, one of them gets an award. Which one? Let's see. The winner is Andrew Evans for Chernobyl 30 years later.
Thank you. I was literally like right there. I had to walk all the way down. Thank you. Finally, a win for Russia. That's great. In all seriousness, though, I want to thank the Writers Guild. They're doing a great job as unions are under attack in this country every day. And I'm glad we have a good representation with the Writers Guild. They're doing a great job. And I also want to thank my wife, my family. And I really want to dedicate this to my dad. I lost him a couple months ago to cancer, and he was a newspaper man. He got me into the whole news thing, and thank you, Dad. That's all I can say. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody! Do you remember the New York Times? Do you remember the Chicago Tribune? Okay, now pretend someone is reading it to you. Okay, what do you have there? Radio news script, regularly scheduled bulletin or breaking report. Now, all radio news scripts, regularly scheduled bulletin or breaking report are great, but only 4 are outstanding. Which 4? Let's see. Okay. Oh, here comes 6:40 a.m. news, November 13th, 2015, written by Philip Pilato, 1010 WINS Radio. Legends of the Game, written by Thomas A. Sabella, CBS News Radio. Muhammad Ali, A Tribute to Greatness, written by Gail Lee, CBS News Radio. World News This Week, August 2016, written by Tara Gimbel, Tennis, ABC's News Radio. One of them gets an award. Which one? Let's see. The winner is Tara Gimbel Tennis for World News This Week.
As Andrew, but in 6-inch heels. So thank you for your patience. Thank you so much to the Writers Guild. This is so surreal. All I ever wanted to do was be a writer, and to be recognized by my peers is just the ultimate realization of that dream. So thank you. And thank you to ABC News, who have propped me up and developed my career and trusted in me. The colleagues, when I started at ABC News, I walked into a newsroom with news giants like Ann Compton and Vic Ratner and Doug Limerick, people that will go down in the record books of broadcast journalism. And now more than ever, their unimpeachable journalism is so important, and to carry on that legacy. And just finally, to my family and my friends who support me, this career is sometimes very hard. The breaking news, the tough stories that we cover, I couldn't do it without my husband and my parents and the support that they give me. And as I said, I always wanted to be a writer. That was my dream. Now I am the mother of a 2-year-old boy, and I just want to make him proud. And I think this goes a long way towards that. So thank you so much.
The nightly news? Y'all remember CNN? Okay, now imagine the script they're reading from, okay? And what do you have there? Radio news script analysis, feature, or commentary. All right, now all radio news scripts, analysis, feature, or commentary are great, but only 4 are outstanding. Which 4? Thank you for asking. They are Dish and Digital on WCBS AM, written by Robert Howley, WCBS AM Radio. Morally Safer, A Journalist's Life, written by Gail Lee, CBS News Radio. Vin Scully, written by Jerry Edlin, KNX. Vin Scully Hangs Up the Mic, written by Andrew Evans, ABC News Radio. Now, you're not going to believe this, but one of them gets an award. The winner is Gail Lee for Morally Safer, A Journalist's Life. For you. Gail is coming up. She's almost here. Go ahead and give it up for Gail. She's on her way. Gail has made it here. Congrats, Gail. You did it.
terrific. A lot of people think that radio is old media, but in fact, those of us who work in it know that radio is one of the most wonderful ways to communicate, one of the most direct ways to communicate, one of the most creative ways to communicate. I am sitting back there with a group of people from CBS Radio News. Guys, stand up. You are the best. Thank you so much. Everybody I work with deserves to have an award. Thank you to the people who I competed against. They all deserve awards. Thank you to the Guild, who every day makes it easier for all of us people who work in news to be able to do our jobs with confidence and security. It is so important to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Some of you know him as the Executive Director of the Writers Guild of America, and our trophy handler knows him as Dad. Here's Lowell Peterson.
I am gonna try to make this work. We'll spin your wheels down in the dirt.
Who knew that radio news could be so funny? Well, we got some Writers Guild in the house. All right, I used that same rallying cry just a few weeks ago at the Huffington Post when we were talking about our new contract there. We have brought in 500 new members writing in digital news in 1 year. They join our brothers and sisters in broadcast news on the front lines of the struggle for independent journalism, the fight to preserve the right to speak truth to power without fear of retribution. But we've also heard from our TV scripted and our screenwriter members about the challenges posed by this strange new world. They wonder if they're going to remain able to tell stories and to create characters that challenge the powerful and the insecure. I believe you know who we're talking about. I believe the best way for us to persist, for us to resist, is to build an even stronger union. This is the foundation on which to build power for the people who tell this country's stories, y'all. And we need to extend our bargaining successes of the last year to our upcoming negotiations with the networks and the major studios, to translate the enormous profits of the entertainment industry into meaningful gains for writers. Now, more than ever, we must deepen our commitment to each other, to strengthen our community of creative professionals. It's time for us to think outside the box. It's time for us to act outside the box. First, before I get back to the awards, I'd like to do a little shout out to my daughter Kirsten, our trophy person. The next two awards were designed to propel the careers of outstanding future members in news and entertainment. It's our hope that both the work and the values of these honorees will serve them and our Guild. First, the John Merriman Award was named posthumously for our esteemed former Guild president and renowned newsman, who epitomized the pillar of the Fourth Estate that is investigative journalism. To honor his example, the Merriman is awarded to a student at American University where he was on the faculty. This year's recipient is Jordan Houston, who's earning her master's with a specialization in broadcast news. She's an intern at the Washington Post, and in December she earned a byline as a contributing reporter for a front-page investigative news story on imitation firearms that result in deadly encounters with police, an extraordinarily important topic. It was written by Pulitzer Prize winner John Sullivan. She'll receive a $1,000 stipend as part of this award. The Michael Collier Memorial Fellowship, underwritten by the King Family Foundation, is awarded to a student pursuing a career in screenwriting. Michael's widow, Susan Collier, joins us in the audience tonight. This year, the Collier Fellowship collaborated with the Blacklist to expand the reach of our applicant pool from 19 partner schools to a nationwide call for undergraduate writers. The first honoree to come from this partnership is Joe Walters, a student of radiologic technology at Gwinnett Technical College in Atlanta, who works as an EMT in the emergency room. He'll use his $10,000 award from the Collier Foundation to develop his screenplay Hazard, which imagines the next generation of the iconic Duke family, and his mentor will be our own Susanna Styron. Jordan and Joe, please stand so that we can recognize both of you. All right, may this moment inspire you, and may your work continue to inspire us from now on. Thank you very much.
He was in the original Broadway cast of The Book of Mormon and can now be seen as Paperboy on the show filmed in Georgia that doesn't feature zombies yet. From the hit show Atlanta, here's Brian Tyree Henry.
Really?
You beautiful white people, hello. This year's nominees for long-form original tackled big issues. American Crime and Confirmation gave us stories about sexual assault and harassment, and our damaged legal system. Surviving Compton, Dre, Suge, and Miscellaneous showed us one woman's experience with ambition and violence in the music world. And Harley and the Davidsons remind us that motorcycles are just so damn cool. So, the nominees are American Crime, written by Julie Hebert, Sonia Hoffman, Keith Huff, Stacey A. Littlejohn, Kirk A. Moore, David Perez, and Deanna Sun. Confirmation, written by Susanna Grant. Harley and the Davidsons, written by Seth Fisher, Nick Schneck, and Evan Wright. Surviving Compton, Dre, Suge, and Miscellaneous, written by Diane Houston. And the award goes to Susanna Grant for Confirmation. Accepting for Susanna is Dylan Baker. No, guys, keep it going for Dylan Baker, like seriously. Are you kidding me?
Brian and we've now had our dreams come true.
We're dating.
We're dating, but we've also given awards to each other.
Yes.
I will proudly accept this for Susanna Grant and everybody that was behind Confirmation. A terribly exciting film to be on, and certainly seems appropriate to our times now. So thank you very much for her and for everyone at HBO.
Me and Dylan, we go back, guys. Calm down about it. There's a long and storied history to video game writing from It's Me, Mario. I cannot believe I did that. To press A to continue. But these writers of today's video games incorporate story, plot, and nuance. And just remember, no matter who wins or loses this category, you're all the reason our kids will never read a book. So congrats on that, too. The nominees for Outstanding Achievement in Video Game Writing are Call of Duty: Infinite Warfare, written by Brian Bloom. Far Cry Primal, story by Jean Sebastian Descon, Ian C. Ryan, and Kevin Short. They know about it. Lead writers Ian C. Ryan and Kevin Short. Writers Lynn Cam and Susan Patrick. Yeah. Narrative designer Naveed Kuvari. Additional narrative designer Paul Dobson. And Mr. Robot 1.51 Exfiltration, story by Adam Hines, Cordy Donna, sorry about that, written by Adam Hines, and Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, written by Neil Druckmann, Josh Scher, additional writing, Tom Bissell, Ryan James. So, open envelope winner not present. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to read that. The writers of Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. The writers could not be here tonight, but I just want to thank them for making sure that all these guys never leave their sofas and eating cheese doodles and texting me their opinions about Uncharted 4. So congrats, guys. This category is incredibly awkward because if we don't win this category, I will burn this building to the ground. Our next category, which honors first-year shows, includes the groundbreaking new series I'm so happy to be a part of called Atlanta. and some other stuff you can watch once you finish Atlanta. The nominees for Outstanding Writing in a Series are Atlanta, written by Donald Glover, Stephen Glover, Jamal Lowry, Stephanie Robinson, and Paul Sims. Better Things, written by Pamela Alden, Louis C.K., Cindy Shupak, Gina Faturi. Stranger Things, written by Paul Dichter, Justin Doble, The Duffer Brothers, Carl Guidance Check, Jessica Mecklenburg, Jesse Nixon Lopez, Allison Tatlock. This Is Us, starring Sterling K. Brown. Hello. Isaac Aptaker, Elizabeth Berger, Becca Brunstetter, Dan Fogelman, Vera Herbert, Joe Lawson. There's so many writers. Kay Oyegan Oren, Squire, KJ Steinberg, Donald Todd. Westworld, written by Ed Brubaker, Bridget Carpenter, Dan Dietz, Hallie Gross, Lisa Joy, Catherine Ligenfelter, Dominic Mitchell, Jonathan Nolan, Roberto Patino, Daniel T. Thompson, Charles Wu. This is so awkward. And the winner is, I will burn this building down, Atlanta!
Really? Paper. Stack it.
Since I threatened everybody, you give the speech.
I had surprisingly little to do with this. This was really mostly all Donald and a bunch of first-time writers, and I just did the smart thing and got out of the way and enjoyed reading their scripts and gave a note here or there, but otherwise, hire young writers and get out of their way and let them do what they're going to do, I'd say.
Thank you, guys. None of you have to deal with arson tonight, so congrats. Thank you.
He started his career as a journalist and now actually makes a living. Please welcome the creator of The Wire and the upcoming HBO series The Deuce. Here's Baltimore's own David Simon.
If you want to Jesus, he'll save your soul.
Hello. When your beloved union calls you and says, we'd like you to help us honor my esteemed colleague, John Waters, you think, well, okay, we're both from Baltimore, and you think we've shared the same crew and people making film out of that same city. Pat, I'm looking at you, Vince, and you think that's all makes sense, and you're thinking also that, Barry Levinson turned the gig down, so you probably got it. But what they didn't know, and why they knew they had me at the moment they asked, was that, and this is true, John is the clergyman who married me to my lovely wife, Laura. Absolutely. And while that production is a little over budget, it's nonetheless still being broadcast. So, John, you had me at matrimony. So, thank you for that. John Waters, who began an improbable career of deep cultural relevance with the equally improbable notion that people from Baltimore should be allowed to put stories on film, is perhaps one of the most influential voices we have. He's laughing at this now? No, he's not. No, he is. Now he is. And I know he's laughing, and I knew he would be, because John is perhaps the great modern master of self-effacement and self-mockery. He has gone to lengths to characterize his entire career as a storyteller and filmmaker in terms that purport to show him standing on the outside of the joke looking in. Pink Flamingos, he wrote in his wondrous autobiography, was billed as an exercise in poor taste, and I like the understatement. That right there is a man who knows exactly what he's doing and why, and a man who knows how to write. I'm going to pause right here in these Writers Guild of America remarks to express just how much I admire John, not just for his film career, but for his prose work. And if you've read Shock Value or Car Sick or Role Models, then all the dog shit swallowed by all the actors can never convince you that John Waters is farce or fraud or Barnum. Again, this man knows not only who he is and what he has to say, but who we are and why we need to hear it. In all earnest, this man has a writing voice that every one of us should envy. He's real, get those books, really. But again, That voice is carefully cultivated so as to dismiss any such notion. Discussing the early years of his filmic journey, John concludes that it was also very thoughtless and playful. "Thanks so much for letting me get away with it," he tells readers of that autobiography. It's a good line and a charming line, but tonight I'm calling bullshit. I first encountered John's films as an undergraduate at the University of Maryland, when a viewing of Pink Flamingos at the local theater on Route 1 had the staid, plaid sport coat wearing Prince George's County political cohort good and affronted. And while theater owners and the student body and the nascent crowd of John Waters fans were having enormous fun using a celluloid provocation to challenge the suburban mores of a county where blue-haired councilwomen talked ill of school integration and where 16-year-old black kids were routinely beaten inside of police stations, John himself was up in Baltimore, running circles around the state film censor. And yes, you heard that right, the Maryland State Film Censor, a deeply Catholic spirit named Mary Avera. It was the late 1970s, which is so long ago that we forget where we were on the continuum of permissible speech and dissent, and any art that affronts or disturbs or otherwise fails to capture an immediate majority. John made the fight in Maryland fun, and even at some points delightfully ridiculous, but it was in fact a fight, a frontier in the same war in which Nabokov or Kerouac, Kinsey or Burroughs or Lenny Bruce found themselves drafted. John made a ridiculous cartoon of Mary Avera. You couldn't watch that bedeviled and angry woman vent about John without ever again seeing the ethic of state censorship as anything but abomination. So I knew what John represented in my state long before I ever met him. When we did meet for the first time, I completely humiliated myself. I'm pretty sure. I was a young newspaper reporter, and I was sent at the last minute to a memorial gathering for one of John's great local character actresses, Edith the Egg Lady Massey. I knew enough of Edith's oeuvre to be stupidly flippant about the tastelessness of some of her screen personas, and this at a time when John was genuinely grieving at the loss. Walking up to him in a crowd inside Edie's gift shop, and I don't know if you'll remember this, maybe you don't, I hope you don't. I don't know why I'm reminding you. I led not with any human sense of Miss Massey or her connection to John and the others in the room. I wanted to shape the lost life around the outrageousness of what I'd seen on screen. The look on John Waters' face as he used his answer to address the reality shamed me. I never got a second quote from him that day. I think I was too embarrassed to try. But my third and lasting encounter with John was the best and most enduring. By then, John's art and narrative force had gone beyond shock value, beyond even the provocations of a censorious culture. By then, Hairspray and Crybaby and Pecker were demonstrating how much John Waters actually had to say about the world. Beginning with Homicide and journeying through The Corner and The Wire, I shared a crew with John, and I learned to love and admire the same colleagues and collaborators. And I came to realize just how much Baltimore and its film community owed to John as a pathfinder and civic presence. But more than that, by then I'd seen enough of John's narratives to learn an essential lesson about life and people and society. And this brings me back to that first claim, the one that John was, after I goaded him laughing at, the one that is nonetheless the real gift to us from a great storyteller, and it's this: fuck normal. Fuck normal. There is no normal. Normal's a lie. Normal's a locked gate, a wall, a prison. Normal is a fascistic sentiment, and one that prevailed within the American experiment for far too long. Indeed, today in this country, we are witnessing a last retrograde and reactionary assertion for whatever normal is supposed to be. John's filmmaking and storytelling, from the guerrilla effrontery of Pink Flamingos to the sweet civic affirmations of Hairspray, are among the most eloquent arguments against standardized modes of being ever lensed. None of us are normal. Black, white, brown, Jew, Gentile, Muslim, atheist, Satanist, gay, straight, bi, transgendered, whatever. The more honestly you assess all the varied allegiances, motivations, and impulses that cause human beings to get up in the morning and face the world and each other, the more you know that none of us is close to normal. Conjure even the known secrets of yourself, your family, your friends, your neighbors, and realize how ridiculous the very idea of normal is. How if you find anyone with political and social opinions that soothe, someone without racial or religious idiosyncrasy, someone without sexuality that veers, or someone with sexuality that veers from, someone without sexuality that veers from a strict heterogeneous application of the lights-off missionary position, someone with 2.1 kids and a 2-car garage and unrusted lawn furniture on the manicured patio of their split-level rancher. I will argue that nothing is more fucking abnormal than that. We are all of us at least 2 standard deviations from the mean. If you think you're not, it's probably time to reflect on the grievous possibility of an unlived life. Other writers and filmmakers and social voices have argued this very thing in their work, but pound for pound, I think you'll be hard-pressed to find a greater and more influential enemy of normal and the lie that normal forces upon human lives than John Waters. It's a legacy of which any storyteller should be proud of, and one that honors the 2017 WGAE Ian McClellan Hunter Award for Career Achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, the great, great John Waters.
That was like my memorial service. All right. I wouldn't suck your lousy dick if I was suffocating and there was oxygen in your balls. I wrote that. Oh, we had dialogue then. Thank you, Writers Guild of America East, for validating the lunatic fringe of cinema and recognizing that a lifetime of penning trashy screenplays is something to celebrate. I clawed my way to the top of the trash heap. And believe me, this filth elder is a proud man being here tonight, accepting the Ian McClellan Hunter Award. David Simon, what an honor to be introduced by you, the man who's written the best TV shows since Howdy Doody, really. We're both from Baltimore and know what an extreme and insane place that can be. We fought with politicians there who thought our work made the city look bad. Are you kidding? I've seen fan maps of Baltimore drawn in Japan that showed only 2 locations, where Divine ate dog shit and where Omar was gunned down. To hell with tall ships. We can create our own tourist attractions. I've always said the only occupation I ever really had is writer. I wrote all the movies I've directed, all my books, and spoken word shows. Every single weekday, I get up at 6 a.m., go into my writing room, and think up something fucked up. In the afternoon, I try to sell it. Isn't that what all writers do? Writing is the only part of filmmaking I really love. I mean, thinking it up is the best part. Why do writers always moan about what a lonely profession is? I'm never lonely with all those crazy characters living in my head. The actual directing of the movie, so endless, so hurry up and wait, so humiliating trying to escape the AD to have a bowel movement without being asked, will you make your day? And the actual release of the picture, well, as David Lynch once said, then the heartbreak begins. You sometimes never know how much your screenwriting is appreciated. One time I was walking down a crowded street in New York City and a weird girl snarled at me, I'm glad I got an abortion. And I cringed thinking, why would a stranger say that to me? And then I realized, oh, you wrote that line. Hi, hi. Thank you so much, thank you. I used to be scared of the WGA. I was paranoid Hollywood screenwriters of movies like Around the World in 80 Days were going to raid the Baltimore set of Multiple Maniacs and drag me off to some writer's jail in a place like Burbank. But But today I tell young filmmakers, join the Writers Guild of America. What other union can demand you fly first class? Pay you levies for blank DVDs sold in Europe used to record movies you wrote. Give you DVD residuals for screenplays that totally bombed at the box office when they were released theatrically. Today, I'm a militant Writers Guild member. Yes, sirree. Yeah. A regular little Norma Ray. I mean, fey, as in delicate. And tonight, I have a few new demands our union should bring to the bargaining table in 2017. Let's stop these movie stars from ad-libbing. You know who they are. The ones that say the first thing I do on set is throw out the script and make it my own. Oh, no, you don't. You read the script before you signed on to shoot the film. Say the lines as written. I know actors don't want directors to give them line readings, but writers should be allowed to do so. They wrote the lines, they know how to say them. Mink Stoll, who's in the audience tonight and has been saying my lines, as written beautifully for decades, recently commented in an interview I read that she had little patience for actors who complain, my character wouldn't say that. Yes, they would, she argues. It's in the script. She's right. Say your fucking lines or join the Writers Guild. We have to go even further. Let's attach part of the editor's salary when they cut out some of our best dialogue without Writers Guild permission. And those embarrassing voiceovers and ADR lines added post-production to make the finished product more life-affirming after some disastrous test screening. Can't we financially penalize the marketing executives who order up this scab hackwork? Better let's go to their homes in the middle of the night and shout out these offending lines we didn't write over and over so they too can't sleep. I've had a lot of co-conspirators in this lifetime achievement, and some of them are here tonight. Pat Moran, casting director of all my films. Vincent Perenio, production designer. Both of whom also worked amazingly with David Simon and many, many others. This award is also shared with all the financial backers who greenlit my films, the actors and technicians dead and alive who helped me bring my writing to life. Thank you, Writers Guild of America East, for this wonderful honor, and I'd like to close with a line I wrote just to prove to struggling young filmmakers everywhere. Never give up. Stick around long enough and they can't get rid of you. It's a line Patricia Hurt's character said in my last film, A Dirty Shame. Make a list of all the people you fucked and then apologize to their parents. See? I got an award for writing that line. Anything is possible. Your time will come too, I promise. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Can you go out this way?
And because we can't get enough of him, once again, our host, Louis Black.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
Yeah, I chose that. I'm not going to say that. Move it up. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that either. They all know that there's excitement in the room. Why the fuck would I tell them? No, we're just let's get to the fucking people. I'm here to talk about the great. So there's a group of people, it turns out, who won but didn't have to be here. And If I'd known that I could have done this from home. So, for short form adapted, the winner is Passage Part 4, Fear the Walking Dead, written by Lauren Signorino and Mike Zunick. That was very, very tender applause. Animation, Stop the Presses from BoJack Horseman, written by Joe Lawson, Netflix. Quiz and audience participation. I know that people write for it, but I'm stunned it's a category. I mean, I'm sorry. It seems to be there should be another thing, another show that does that. Hollywood Game Night, the head writer, Grant Taylor. And the writers, Michael Agbabian, Alex Chauvin, Ann Slichter, Dwight D. Smith. It's an NBC show. And episodic drama, The Trip, This Is Us, written by Vera Herbert, NBC.
Our next presenter tells all the jokes that Amber Ruffin doesn't have to. Nominated in 3 categories tonight, it's the host of Late Night with Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers.
Hey, everybody. How we all doing? I'm just gonna say, this is always, it's a bit of a shit show, but it's the best award show on earth, the Writers Guild Award. You'll be watching the Oscars, you're not gonna see better speeches than John Waters or Steve O'Donnell and, what's that? I'm damn right, thank you very much. I know I'm biased, but Amber Ruffin, you will not see a better presenter than Amber Ruffin. Give it up for Amber. Also, you always hear that the key to writing is rewriting, and I appreciate that the Writers Guild Awards is rewritten every year. Different venue, completely different feel. First time I went, it was in a theater. I went to a couple at BB King Blues Bar. Not a good fit. This is really nice. This is a good fit this year. I really like this room. Give it up for the Writers Guild Award. Here's my rewrite idea for next year. Sometimes the presenter will read the name and say they're not here tonight. I do think we could also say they are here, they're in the balcony. This is gonna take a minute. I'm very excited. I'm a fan of documentaries, so I am a fan of being here to present these awards. We're gonna begin with television documentaries nominated in the Other Than Current Events category. And only a writer could come up with something that pithy. The Other Than Current Events category covers topics including the rise to power of Benjamin Netanyahu, the history of the Communist Party in America, and a documentary on Jackie Robinson. The nominees for documentary script, Other Than Current Events, OTCE, as we call it, here at the Writers Guild. American Reds, written by Richard Wormser, WPTS Dayton. Jackie Robinson, Part 1, written by David McMahon and Sarah Burns, PBS. Netanyahu at War, Frontline, written by Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, PBS. And the award goes to David McMahon and Sarah Burns for Jackie Robinson, Part 1. Just Part 1.
Hit that ball. It went zooming across the left field wall. Yeah, boy.
Yes, yes, Jackie hit that ball.
And when he swung his bat, the crowd went wild because he knocked that ball a solid mile. Yeah, boy.
Yes, yes, Jackie.
Thank you. This is very exciting. We're really honored to be recognized by our peers in the Writers Guild. That's very exciting. We also want to thank our chief collaborator, Ken Burns. That's my dad. A lot of people help us make our films, but I want to tonight especially thank the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which we hope continues into the future. That has been a great supporter of our work. Rachel?
And we'd also like to thank Rachel Robinson, who so generously shared her husband's life story, but also her own. She's a really remarkable person and a gift to our country, and in her mid-90s was willing to bring to life her husband's accomplishments, so we're grateful for her contributions.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to the writers of documentaries providing hard-hitting news, coverage of the heroin epidemic, the Syrian refugee crisis, and the presidential election. Bittersweet for me, I also did a documentary on the presidential election this year. We had a camera crew following Bobby Jindal. Picked the wrong horse. But was it that fucking crazy based on what happened? He'd held office. The nominees are Chasing Heroin Frontline, written by Marcela Gaviera, PBS. The Choice 2016 Frontline, written by Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, PBS. Inside Assad, Syria Frontline, written by Martin Smith, PBS. 3 nominees for Frontline, so whatever happens, gonna be awkward at Frontline come Monday. Even more awkward than you think, because we have a tie. Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser for The Choice 2016, and Martin Smith for Inside Assad, Syria. Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser cannot be here, excepting for Mr. Smith is his wife, Marcela Gaviera. Let's bring her up, everybody.
This is, I'm the one that lost. Whose speech should I read? God, where the hell are they? But maybe I'll dump their speeches aside and just say, we believe in the First Amendment and free speech. We're all incredibly proud to be journalists in this difficult time. There's never been a more important time to be a journalist, and frankly, it's a great responsibility. I encourage all of you here. It's so great to be here in a room full of writers, to keep at your hard-earned work, just, keep plugging away. And Martin Smith right now is in Iran trying to educate people about what this country is doing and why it matters. And Mike and Mike couldn't be here tonight because they too are plugging away, but they're deeply honored. We're very grateful to Rainey Aronson, who helps us so much and encourages us every single day. And wow, I'm really winging it tonight, but anyway, thanks everybody, keep at it.
And don't miss Marcella's upcoming Frontline special, The Night I Got Fucked Over. Next, the category of television, graphic art, and animation, and the nominees are The Real History of Cinco de Mayo, Gawker Media Group, by Elisa Salinas, and that's it. She's the only nominee. So I'm still going to announce her, but can we do this? I would like to ask, I have an acting note. When I announce her, I want everyone to gasp. Like she was the last, they can't believe she won. And finally, the television, graphic art, and animation, with only one nominee in this category. The award goes to The Real History of Cinco de Mayo from Elisa Salinas.
Aquí me tiene bien clavado, soltando las penas en un bar, brindando por su amor. Aquí me tiene abandonado, bebiendo tequila para olvidar.
All right, so it's not a surprise, but I'm incredibly happy. As an animator and a writer, I'd like to thank the Writers Guild of America, as well as Gizmodo Media Group, formerly also known as Gawker Media, taken down by Hulk Hogan, unfortunately. However, still in existence, and you know, First Amendment rights, right? So, yeah, thank you very much. I hope to continue to cover stories about diversity in the United States. It's important to continue to recognize that the United States is filled with diverse people who all have their own stories that need to be honestly exposed and, yeah, informatively and visually explained. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
And now, here to class this join up. Everybody, you're in for a real treat. Triumph, the insult comic dog.
It's not. Lights on! Hooray! Oh my God, what a shit show. And I haven't even started. It's great to be here at the Writers Guild Awards, everyone, or based on what I saw on the red carpet, the soft chin and receding hairline expo. Badum! Seriously, Edison Ballroom, it's very lovely. Little ironic, though. Thomas Edison got a look at this crowd. I think he would have skipped inventing the light bulb. Boom! You see, because you're hideous. The Writers Guild Awards, come on. The Writers Guild Award, the only award show that's broadcast in your spam folder, ladies and gentlemen. They're having me. Now it's really kicking. They're having me present. I think it's for diversity. I mean, you know, we've had a few other people of color up here, but generally the WGA Awards is so Caucasian. So Caucasian, even the host, who is black, is white. Boom. You see, because his name is Black. Louis Black, what a job he did. Wow, that was disappointing. Thank you, Louis Black, the man who turned alcoholic dad yelling because he just stepped on a Lego into a career. Boom. No, it's been great. It's been great. It's been really, really great. The only way this show could be any longer and more awkward is if Donald Trump were shaking its hand. Phoomp. No, what star power we had. We did. David Simon, come on, he's a legend. I love The Wire. I love The Wire is something white people say when they can't say, I have a black friend. Boom. And look at all these nominees this year. What a renaissance of dramas. My favorite is The Americans, the story of Russian spies infiltrating the United States, or as the president calls it, the feel-good show of the year. Boom. You see, because, see, it's okay. It's okay, that joke wasn't funny, but it was important. This is not the time to be funny. This is the time to be important, because that's where the money is. We're going to out-important the shit out of the SAG Awards. Because what we say on this stage, when it's read by everyone who reads splitsider.com, it will affect the opinions of dozens of Americans who already agree with everything we say. It will. Yes. After tonight, they will go from hating Trump to hating Trump. By the way, before I get to the awards, I would like myself to get the unanimous standing ovation. So at this point, please stand and applaud if you've ever written a spec script for either The Office or The Sopranos. You're full of shit. Let me explain the next category. The WGAE asked me to present the category of children's scripts. No doubt hoping the category would provide an easy target for some crude remarks. Well, they misjudged me. I have nothing but respect for children's programming. I know what they've been through. I knew Snuffleupagus back when he was jerking off grouches behind Mr. Hooper's store for free spaghetti. I haven't ever been in a children's program. I guess the closest I've ever been, you've heard of Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? We dated, and we shot a spin-off of the show for adults called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego's G-Spot? Just like Carmen Sandiego, it proved quite elusive. That joke was important. No, seriously, I guess the WGA thought it would be fun for the children's categories to be presented by a foul-mouthed puppet. But unfortunately, Sean Spicer wasn't available. Boom! Bang! I actually am pitching my own show around the networks, my own children's show. It's about teaching the facts of life for young writers, you know? Where we explain when two producers love each other very much, they get together and fuck you. By the way, we addressed that in the new pattern of demands, which I trust you've all read. Yes, our first demand is that all studios be constitutionally required to use a water-based lubricant when cornholing our negotiating team. Petroleum-based lubricants leave a greasy residue that we will not stand for. What else we got here? Oh, yes. Our demands. Yes. Producers shall treat writers with the same dignity they would accord Scott Rudin's Nobu delivery boy. We know we're not going to get that. That's just an opening bid. What else? Oh, yes, and any envelope containing a residual check for less than 99 cents must also contain confetti to soften the blow. No, I kid. In truth, I truly believe that the overwhelming majority of the Guild is hoping for a quick resolution so we can avoid the strike and get back to being out of work. Okay, children's programming. The nominees in this category have worked hard to provide quality, enriching entertainment for the next generation, which the next generation then ignores to play Minecraft. No, it is a challenge. It is a challenge for the children's show writer. How do you engage an audience with a limited vocabulary and short attention span who would rather be on social media? This is a question faced not only by our nominees, but by our national security advisors. Boom! And bang! So important! Now, first, we have to honor the honor to present the awards for children's Episodic, where we celebrate the shows that were the best at getting your piece of crap kid to shut his trap for 30 minutes. And the nominees for children's script, episodic, and specials are Fox and Friends. Written by Steve Ducey and 2 other assholes. No, I kid. The nominees for children's script, seriously, episodic and specials are Girl Meets Communism, Girl Meets World, written by Joshua Jacobs and Michael Jacobs. Just Add Mom, it's a great children's show. By the way, also a very strange category on Pornhub. Just Add Mom, Just Add Magic, written by John Paul Nickel. Mel versus the Nightmare of Normal Street, Mortimer Gibbons' Life on Normal Street, written by Laurie Paris. Give it up. And finally, Mucko Polo, Grouch Explorer, Sesame Street. Wow. Guess we know who won. Written by Belinda Ward, and the award goes to... We've got time. Laurie Paris for Mel versus the Nightmare of Normal Street. Laurie could not be here to accept the award, so I will accept it and have sex with this prolapsed vagina on her behalf. All right. Next category, the nominees. Now the awards for Best Long Form Children's Special. Yes, long form. These are the shows you put on when your kid is really being an asshole. Okay. The nominees for Children's Script, Long Form or Special are Dance Camp, teleplay by Nicholas W. Turner and Rex New and Cameron Fay. Story by Nicholas W. Turner and Rex New, but not Cameron Fay. Really, you had to stick it to her? You really needed the story credit to stick it to Cameron Fay? Way to go, Nicholas Turner and Rex New. You don't need no fucking Cameron Fay to write your story. God, I hope they win. Once Upon a Sesame Street Christmas, written by Jerry Cole and Ken Scarborough. R.L. Stein's Monsterville, Cabinet of Soul. Now here, you can play along. Insert your own Donald Trump appointee's Cabinet of the Soulless joke here, right here. Monsterville, Cabinet of Souls, written by Billy Brown and Dan Angel. And the award goes to... Where's my fucking paw? Here's the paw. It's so worth the sight gag. You see, because... All right, and then this, and then this, and then it's upside down. Okay, and then... Ah! Ken Scarborough and Jerry Cole, Once Upon a Sesame Street Christmas. Come on up. Jerry, this is the first award for Jerry Cole and Ken Scarborough.
The holiday season.
They wrote both the screenplay and the story together and are not petty about it. Jerry Cole and Ken Scarborough are making their way to the podium as we speak. They need not rush, for at this point no one cares. Congratulations.
Wow, thank you so much. This is really an honor. Also, it's terrifying. It's really terrifying. We would like to thank HBO and Sesame for giving us this excellent, awesome opportunity, supporting kindness. We would also like to thank
The
Everyone at
casting
Sesame-
crew.
And yes, and everyone at Sesame Workshop.
Everyone at Sesame Workshop for making our lives
Brown
easier.
Johnson, Ben Lehman,
All this,
Minnie
yep.
Fila, and the
Karen.
Muppets. The
Muppets.
performers and the Creature Workshop.
Absolutely. Also the Guild.
For awarding us this.
Because they're excellent and have been super supportive.
Yeah.
Also our spouses.
Yes.
And your mother who
And
is
my
here.
mother came here, so thank you.
Thank you very much. It's truly an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. You've been a great team for me to poop on.
Please welcome a president who actually won the popular vote, the president of the Writers Guild of America East, Michael Winship.
Thank you. I've often said of these events that I feel like the tragic relief, but so many great speeches tonight. I feel like that great line about George Goebel, George Goebel said, "Do you ever feel like a pair of brown shoes in a room full of tuxedos?" These speeches have been so great tonight, and I want to thank everybody for their participation. I also want to we should thank and applaud so many of the people involved in the production tonight. Bonnie Datt and Shannon Walker, co-executive producers. Ann B. Cohen, the head writer, and all her writers. All the volunteers who put in their time tonight, and the staff, people who've worked on this so hard, Marcia Seaman, Dana Weissman, Jason Gordon, Jenna Bond, and especially Nancy Hathorn. I also want to say God bless a free and independent media. And this union will work with our writers to continue to resist, to push back, to make voices heard, and we will fight this with our words and with our actions and on the streets as we've been doing since this inauguration. This is my last awards ceremony as your president. Thanks a lot. I will not be running for re-election in September, but one of the joys of the last 10 years in office has been to deepen my love and admiration for Walter Bernstein. Walter retired from our council last fall, but remains a venerated friend and colleague. I've said many times before that I have always thought of him as my consigliere, the trusted wise man to whom I turn when I need help in counsel. When I'm faced with a problem that threatens to become far more complicated than it needs to be, Walter's sage advice often consists of a shrugged shoulder and just 4 words. Many of you who know him can probably say them along with me. Pay the $2. Get it over with. His career has been remarkable, his adventures many, and if you're someone who hasn't read his memoir Inside Out, I urge you to run out and borrow, buy, or steal it as soon as you can. It chronicles a life well lived, often in the face of adversity and a government that felt the need to suppress those who dare to hold opinions contrary to its own. Where have you heard that before? Decades ago, it was done with the complicity of many in the entertainment industry, and it was called the Blacklist. And when I say many in the entertainment industry, I include this union, unfortunately and sadly and tragically. Walter's name was on that list, but he and his fellow blacklisted writers pushed back. They resisted, and in those desperate times created a community in which they helped each other find work, at least enough to scrape by. When that dark night of the American soul came to an end, those who survived fought to rebuild their lives and careers. Walter was one of those who succeeded. In such films as The Front, Failsafe, and The Molly Maguires, among many others, Walter has told stories of both the heart and mind, stories that entertain while warning of the dangers when those with too much power seek to bully and destroy. Walter, could you please stand and be acknowledged tonight? This year, the Guild East Council and the Awards Committee have created a new special award in Walter Bernstein's name. Tonight and in future years, it will be presented to honor, quote, writers who have demonstrated with creativity, grace, and bravery a willingness to confront social injustice in the face of adversity. In other words, writers just like Walter. This year's inaugural Walter Bernstein Award will be presented to its recipient by yet another great storyteller named Walter. He's the author of more than 43 acclaimed books, as well as short fiction and nonfiction, and the winner of many awards himself, including an O. Henry Award, a Grammy, and PEN America's Lifetime Achievement Award. Please welcome Walter Mosley.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
Anybody who knows what my voice usually sounds like knows that this isn't it, but I just have a cold. I think I kissed Louis Black backstage. And I got it. I don't know. But I'm really happy to be here tonight, for two reasons. And I'm, I was told that I better not go over 4 minutes, so I wrote this thing down. And it's 4 minutes, I think. And tonight is a great honor for me. There's not anyone else in my life who occupies the place of hero, teacher, mentor, friend, and a man who has been all those things for entire generations worldwide, even though most of those elevated have no idea who their benefactor is. Walter Bernstein is not only a hero, but he is also possessed of great courage, unflagging bravery, valor, and most wonderfully, pluck. He has been there when the chips were down, when other Americans conveniently forgot the history that destroyed so many during the blacklist. He marched side by side with Paul Robeson when their fellow Americans threw stones. A Jew, he traversed the length of Nazi-occupied Yugoslavia to be the first American to interview Tito. He boxed in the ring, and even more impressively, outside the ring, he stood down the FBI when they were wrong, un-Americans, blaming him for that crime. Walter has written one of the greatest scenes in one of the best movies I've ever seen, The Front. It's when Zero Mostel confesses his crime to and against Woody Allen without ever saying it out loud, maybe even without being understood, but we understood, and that is the purpose of great film. Walter Bernstein is the personification of that purpose. And so tonight, the Writers Guild inaugurates the Walter Bernstein Award. Just to put that name on the recognition of a filmmaker, a writer, a thinker, a woman, or a man who has dared to tell the truth in the staunchest, clearest, and most beautiful terms, just to say to someone, you have earned the Walter Bernstein Award, is something beyond anything that muscle-bound capitalism could ever understand or articulate. Jelani Cobb steps into that spotlight tonight, and he is deeply deserving of it. Like Walter, he took his beliefs in a rucksack and went out to find not an excuse, not some one-sided reason, not his side of a broken equation. Mr. Cobb went out to see if he could make sense of the chaos, if there was reason behind the crimes. And then he tried his best to encompass the America we have inherited from classism to racism, from sexism to ageism, from a past that used violence to control the status quo to a present day that still suffers from those deep wounds. Mr. Cobb's journalism, like Walter, and certainly his film, Policing the Police, also like Mr. Bernstein, tell us that he has not defined himself by forgetting history and placating the masses. He didn't travel back and forth to Newark for a year because he was hoping to have starlets calling his cell phone or big-time production houses offering big bucks. He did that work so that you and I could live better lives, so that there isn't some hell on the other side of town that is part of our denied heritage. Jelani Cobb tells us the truth to make us better people and to make sure that everyone understands what has been done wrong and what might be done right. A lot has been said in the press and tonight about alternative facts. We all laugh at the notion, hardly realizing that Almost our entire education is rife with these lies and manipulations. Jelani Cobb brings to light alternative facts, proving that much and most of what we have believed are lies. If it's a man knocked to the ground and kicked for not falling fast enough, if it is a mother who receives a call to come down and identify her son's body, if it is a mayor who had all the answers when he didn't have the power and now has precious few answers when he does. Mr. Cobb has, without ever thinking about it, I am sure, deserved, earned, and immediately made greater the Walter Bernstein Award. Jelani Cobb.
And I rise up, I rise like the day, I rise up, I rise unafraid, I rise up, and I do it 1,008 times again. And I
Let me begin by saying I am deeply, deeply humbled and deeply grateful to be the recipient of an award named for Walter Bernstein, and that your example, not only of creativity and commitment as an artist, but to the cause of freedom and free speech and free expression, and therefore the cause of democracy, is one that has never been more relevant. And so we thank you for that. And also, I'll be remiss if I did not thank Rainey Aronson, James Jacoby, and Anya Borg from Frontline, who really, it would have been impossible for this project to have existed without them. And so they have my kind of enduring gratitude for the Policing the Police project. And I know this has been a long evening, so I just want to be very brief and say that I've had many different professions, but one of the more valued experiences I've had has been as a history professor. And I find that my syllabus seems to have jumped off the page these days. Because I remember that in the 1870s, there was a cause, there was a moment in which people became concerned that there was a group of people who were coming into the country and that they were bringing drugs and that they were bringing crime and that they were stealing jobs. And this culminated in the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. And I remember that in the beginning of the 20th century, when there came to be a concern about a group that was coming into the country, and people believed that they had allegiances to foreign governments and that they could help bring terrorism and violence to the United States, and that it culminated in the Johnson Immigration Restriction Act of 1924, specifically designated to try to reduce the number of Jews who could come into the country. And that 15 years later, when Jews desperately sought to flee Nazi Germany, that same law consigned them to death as the United States refused to allow them entry. And I remember that 75 years ago today, FDR signed the executive order which began the internment of Japanese Americans. And then very briefly, I spent 3 weeks this past December and January in Charleston, South Carolina, writing about the trial of Dylann Roof. And there was a man I met there by the name of Malcolm Graham. His sister had been one of the victims, Cynthia Graham Hurd. She had died in the church. And he had taken it as his cause to make sure the world understood who his sister was and what she had done as a librarian in the community in Charleston and how deeply she felt her commitment to that community. And he told me this over and over, and he wanted to make sure that I understood this. And I was there for 3 weeks kind of listening to the trauma and the turmoil and the difficulty of that trial. And then I left as soon as the trial was over, literally on the first flight out of town. At 6 a.m., I flew from Charleston to New York, and then I got a connecting flight from New York to San Francisco. And I spent most of the day in the air. I was irritable, tired, didn't want to talk to anyone. And so when I got to my hotel, I realized I had not spoken to anyone all day. And I struck up a conversation with the bellman in the lobby. He was an African-American man in his 30s by the name of Aaron Thames.
And I said, "Are you a native?" Just askingly, "Are you a native of the Bay Area?" And he said, "No, I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina." And so I said, "Oh, that's odd. I just came from there. I was covering the Dylann Roof trial." And a pained expression crossed his face. And he said, "That young man took someone very valuable away from me." And I said, "Who?" He said, "My childhood librarian. Her name was Cynthia Graham Hurd." And so I'd begun the morning just maybe a half mile from the Atlantic Ocean and ended that day maybe a half mile from the Pacific. I had gone as far as I could across the country without leaving the continental United States, and found that the contours of that evil had filled the entire space in between. Dr. King said that we are bound by an inextricable web of mutuality. It's this that we have to remember if we care for the cause of democracy. We could outline many of the cases and dark moments in American history, but what I'm reminded of is that we have consistently, in those dark moments, found people of conscience, people of will, people of integrity, people of creativity, like Walter, who have summoned our best spirits and urged us to move forward in progress. And this is what I would like for us to remember this evening. Thank you.
She's turned Upper East Side parental angst into an art form. Please welcome best-selling author and the creator and star of Odd Mom Out, Jill Kargman.
Hi. You're not living under a rock. I'm a 42-year-old on basic cable, so nice to meet you. Our first category is daytime drama, i.e. soap operas, which I watched when I was homesick from school, and they always made me feel better about my life because they provided a yardstick for fucked upness. With only one nominee, the award for daytime drama goes to, Seth Meyers gasp, General Hospital. Writers Shelley Altman, Anna Teresa Cascio, Andrea Archer Compton, Suzanne Flynn, Janet Iacobuzio, Elizabeth Corti, Daniel James O'Connor, Jean Passanante, David Rupel, Catherine Schock, Scott Sickles, Chris Van Etten, Christopher Whitesell.
Thank you, Courtney Simon, for that wonderful acknowledgement of our genre. For the past 54 years, the writers of General Hospital have collectively written 13,800 hours of television programming. And we're very proud of the three for which we've won this award.
I would like to acknowledge the other nominees in this category, but there aren't any. So instead, I would like to acknowledge the Writers Guild. When I started this 25 or something years ago, there were 12 soaps, and now there are 4. And we appreciate what the Writers Guild continues to do for us to protect our rights in this diminishing world. But hopefully, it's not over yet. I'd also like to thank our amazing executive producer, who's not here and won't hear this, but we will thank him anyway, Frank Valentini, who says yes way more than he says no, which is not always easy because we ask of him some pretty crazy things, and he produces 5 shows a week, 52 weeks a year. So thank you, Frank, and thank you, everybody here, and thank this wonderful team of writers. Thank you.
Tonight's nominees in comedy/variety are a skilled and accomplished and very large group. They range from writers who have been hired by Lorne Michaels, to writers who have been fired by Lorne Michaels, to writers who are Lorne Michaels. They range from absolutely hilarious to fucking hysterical, and there are a lot of them. Here we go. The nominees for Outstanding Writing Comedy or Variety Sketch are Documentary Now, writers Fred Armisen, Bill Hader, Eric Kenward, John Mulaney, Seth Meyers. Inside Amy Schumer, writers Kim Caramelle, Kyle Dunnigan, Jesse Klein, Michael Lawrence, Kurt Metzger, Christine Nangle, Claudia O'Doherty, Sean Powell, Tammy Sager, Amy Schumer. Maya and Marty, head writers Mikey Day, Matt Roberts, Brian Tucker. Writers Eli Bauman, Jeremy Byler, Chris Belair, Hallie Cantor, David Feldman, RJ Freed, Melissa Hunter, Paul Masella, Tim McAuliffe, John Mulaney, Diallo Riddle, Maya Rudolph, Bashir Salahuddin, Marika Sawyer, Streeter Seidel, Martin Short, Emily Spivey, Steve Young. Nathan for You, written by Leo Allen, Nathan Fielder, Adam Locke Norton, Eric Notarnicola. Saturday Night Live, head writers Rob Klein, Brian Tucker. Writers James Anderson, Fred Armisen, Jeremy Byler, Chris Belair, Megan Callahan, Michael Che, Mikey Day, Jim Downey, Tina Fey, Fran Gillespie, Sudie Green, Tim Herlihy, Steve Higgins, Colin Jost, Zach Cannon, Chris Kelly, Eric Kenward, Paul Masella, Dave McCary, Dave McNicholas, Seth Meyers, Lorne Michaels, Josh Patton, Paula Pell, Katie Rich, Tim Robinson, Sarah Schneider, Pete Schultz, Streeter Seidel, Dave Saris, Emily Spivey, Andrew Steele, Will Steven, Ken Sublett. Woo! Hopefully it wasn't a serial killer of your names. The writers of Saturday Night Live.
Counts. Thank you so much. I have a little piece of paper because it's my first time, so I'm just gonna double check. This is really exciting. We're so honored to be honored by the Guild, by our peers. We are so thankful for that. Thank you all for watching and for appreciating what we do. I want to thank our head writers from last season, Rob Klein and Brian Tucker, along with my co-head writers for this season, Chris Kelly, Kent Sublett, and Brian again, and all of our amazing writers, which this is about a fifth of what was on that list, but glad you guys are all here. We have to thank NBC, of course, Bob Greenblatt, our boss, Lorne Michaels, who not only guides us, but trusts us to write the show that we're currently writing, and that faith is everything to us, so thank you, Lorne. And we have to thank our amazing cast and crew. They make everything we write funnier, better, more beautiful, and they are the best in the business and best at what they do, and they are everything. And I want to thank, on behalf of all of us, our significant others, our husbands, boyfriends, wives, girlfriends. It's really easy to get lost in this show, especially these days, and they understand our schedules and understand we have to go to the party to let off steam. That's part of it. So just want to thank them. And I also want to thank, while I'm up here, there's a lot going on in the world these days. And despite what all my mother's friends tell me, it doesn't write itself. It's not funny until the writers make it so. So to everyone on our show, everyone on Seth's show, everyone on Full Frontal, on John Oliver, everybody doing that work, keep it up. It's inspiring to watch what all of you do. So thank you.
Broadway adores them, Netflix audiences love them, and Tina Fey can't get enough of them. Please welcome the stars of the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Jane Krakowski, and Tituss Burgess.
Unbreakable, they alive, damn it, it's a miracle. Unbreakable, they alive, damn it, with females are strong.
On the walk out here, wait, I haven't said that. My birthday is on Tuesday, and it occurred to me that I won't see y'all. So I thought maybe you wanted to say happy birthday to me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, how did y'all know? In the category of Outstanding Writing, a comedy variety, including talk, there are 71 nominated writers. And now I'm going to read all their names.
Well, except the 3 who have crossed us.
That's right. You don't know who you are.
And you do not know what you did.
So let this be a lesson to all of you. The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. The writers are Dan O'Meara, David Angelo, Steve Bodo, Devin Delaquanti, Zach Delonzo, Trayvon Free, Hallie Hagland, David Kibuka, Matt Koff, Adam Lowett, Alex Marino, Dan McCoy, Lauren Server Means, Trevor Noah, Joe Opio, Jubin Parang, sorry girl if I did it wrong, Owen Parson, Daniel Radosh, Michelle Wolf, Delaney Yeager. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. The writers are Kevin Avery, Tim Carvel, Josh Goldenman, Dan Gerwich, Jeff Haggerty, Jeff Maurer, John Oliver, Scott Sherman, Will Tracy, Jill Twiss, and Julie Wiener. Late Night with Seth Meyers. The writers are Jermaine Afonso, Alex Bays, Brian Donaldson, Sal Gentile, Matt Goldich, Jenny Hagel, Allison Horde, Mike Carnell, Andrew Law, John Lutz. Uparna Nancherla, Chioka Nosor, Seth Meyers, Ian Morgan, Connor O'Malley. Seth, why didn't they make you do this? Ian Morgan, Connor O'Malley, Seth Reese, Amber Ruffin, Mike Scollins, Mike Shoemaker, Ben Warheit, and Michelle Wolf.
Yes.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The writers are Mike Braum, Nate Charney, Aaron Cohen, Stephen Colbert, Cullen Crawford, Paul Danello, Eric Drysdale, Rob Dubbin, Ariel Dumas, Glenn Eichler, Gabe Gronley, Barry Julian, Jay Katzer, Daniel Kibblesmith, Matt Lappin, Opus Morisky, Tom Purcell, Jen Spira, and Brian Stack.
You crushed that.
And the award goes to the writers of
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Oh man, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This is so kind, especially with all the incredible work that's being done by everybody in this category. I think if the election taught us anything, it's that late night TV comedy can and does change the course of history. It's an honor to be a part of something so important. We want to thank our head writer, Tim Carvel, our EP, Liz Stanton. Where is he? You'd have to ask him. It's a fair question, though, yeah. And of course, John Oliver. They're all just incredibly talented and thoughtful people that really bring out the best work in us. And so we share this with them and with everybody at the show that works so hard to make something that we're really proud of every week. So thank you so much.
And now the award for Best Documentary Screenplay from films like 0 Days.
Please, Jane, I don't want any spoilers, so I haven't seen any of them yet, so just be careful what you say.
Well, no, that's not a spoiler. I'm just saying the names of the films.
I don't care. I don't want to know anything. Now, you can go ahead.
And the nominees
I can read your
are,
lips, Jane.
Author, the J.T. Leroy story, written by Jeff Fierzig. Command and Control, telescript by Robert Kenner, Eric Schlosser, story by Brian Pearl and Kim Roberts, based on the book Command and Control by Eric Schlosser. And 0 Days, written by Alex Gibney. And the winner is, for Command and Control, Robert Kenner, Eric Schlosser, Brian Pearl, and Kim Roberts. No? Anyone? Anyone?
Bye.
Please welcome a Tony, Oscar, Pulitzer, and WGA award-winning writer and a past recipient of the Ian McClellan Hunter Award for Career Achievement. A man so talented he needs 3 names, John Patrick Shanley.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Jesus Christ. These evenings are long. Well, here we are. How you doing, my battle-scarred brothers and sisters? You okay? I hope so. Because your work is cut out for you. I've got to acknowledge something, say something you already know. Humanity's in trouble right now. And we need each and every one of you sons of bitches to write like hell for the next 12 months. Write like your kids are in danger, because they are. Write like you love this planet, because you do. Write like you're going to change the world, because you must. Next year, every one of you in this audience should be nominated, because your passion and moral fire, your voice, cannot be denied. And don't tell me you all can't be nominated, can't win, nothing's impossible. That's what we as writers know. You can do anything, overturn any hypocrisy, protect what is good, destroy what is vital, uplift the oppressed, and bring home the bacon precisely because you are a writer. There's no border but your imagination, your conviction, and your sense of what is right and what is wrong. It's up to you. Don't let us down. Please. And thank you. Now, with the assistance of my friend Yvette Dumang,
Yes.
the next category up for celebration is Best Original Screenplay. And the nominees are
Hell or High Water, written by Taylor Sheridan. La La Land, written by Damien Chazelle. Loving, written by Jeff Nichols. Manchester by the Sea, written by Kenneth Lonergan. Moonlight Screenplay by Barry Jenkins. Story by Terrell McCraney.
And the winner is Barry Jenkins and Terrell Alvin McCraney for Moonlight. Barry is accepting in LA, and Terrell has sent these words to be read just in case. This is Terrell. To whom it may concern. In the crazy event that Moonlight is selected for a prize this evening, know that I wish I could be there, but I'm currently doing my best to ensure that the next generation of us, like the people in this room, have a place to practice and sharpen their tools for the rough and wonderful journey ahead. Forgive me if you can. If you are reading this, then the august body of the work of the WGA has decided to award Moonlight for its efforts. If you're reading this, know somewhere 2 young men of color from impossible situations are rejoicing, and countless more will see this as a signal forward. not for the accolades or cash prizes, but that our lives and stories can and will be seen. You see them, you see us. See us for the unique and complicated storytellers we are, and have voted to celebrate that rather than look away. No, I did not expect this to happen. Being the son of someone who wrestled addiction to the grave, you tend to think that most things aren't possible. But Barry Jenkins, A24, Adele Romansky, Plan B, and now the WGA have joined hands to help those wash those fears away. It is never too late to see the path ahead in a new light. Thank you for seeing Moonlight. And now the final category up for celebration is Outstanding Writing in a Drama Series. And the nominees are
The Americans, written by Peter Ackerman, Tanya Barfield, Joshua Brand, Joel Fields, Stephen Schiff, Joe Weisberg, Tracy Scott Wilson. Better Call Saul, written by Ann Durkins, Vince Gilligan, Jonathan Glatzer, Peter Gould, Jennifer Hutchinson, Heather Marion, Thomas Schauts, I said that wrong, Gordon Smith. Game of Thrones, written by David Benioff, Brian Cogman, Dave Will, D.B. Wise. Stranger Things, written by Paul Dichter, Justin Doble, the Duffer Brothers, Carl Gajdoszek, Jessica Mecklenburg, Jesse Nixon Lopez, Allison Tatlock. Westworld, written by Ed Brubaker, Bridget Carpenter, Dan Dietz, Hallie Gross, Lisa Joy, Catherine Lindenfelter, Dominic Mitchell, Jonathan Nolan, Robert Patino, Daniel T. Thompson, and Charles Yu.
And the winner is The Americans.
Thank you very much. Tonight we really want to thank the writers that we work with on the show. Josh Brand. Can I thank you even though you're standing right there?
Yeah,
is that okay?
thanks.
Stephen Schiff, Peter Ackerman, Tracy Scott Wilson, Tanya Barfield. As everyone who works in television knows, we really spend all our time with these people. We work all day writing the show. We eat lunch together every day. Until recently, when we started spending every second of lunchtime talking about politics, that was actually a nice part of the day. Anyway, we just love these guys. They make working something wonderful to do together, and that's what we wanted to celebrate tonight. So thanks to the writers.
We also couldn't do the show without Matthew, Carrie, Noah, and the amazing cast we have, the great support from the network, and without this incredible crew who are willing to just toil and actually work later nights than we work now. So we thank them, and we thank you. It's quite something to be here. Thank you.
And Julie and Rosa, thanks, guys.
Jessica.
Can I just say? I just want to say thank you to these guys. I feel nothing but gratitude tonight, gratitude to be part of this utopian experiment that is our writer's room, which fortunately you're showing us did better than failed utopian experiment that we do our show about. Thank you very much. Love to you, Laura Day.
We're going to take a 10-minute intermission. I knew you'd be thrilled to hear that. I feel like we should be at the end of the universe. And you guys, I'm serious, you fuckers were an exceptional audience. You really, I mean it, you give yourselves a round of applause. The level of desperation that you showed tonight for any form of entertainment was spectacular. Your neediness is wonderful, but really, well, I mean, both Bill Sheft and I stood there and go, holy God, they're still awake. God love you. But I need to do some thank yous before we go, so if you can get out some pens and write these people down. I want to thank our sponsors, beginning with our after-party sponsor, Vision Media Management, and they make eyeglasses too. Thanks to Vision Elite Logistics and Fulfillment, that's a consulting firm. Vodka 6100, yes! Final Draft, and the New York City Media and Entertainment. Now please, it's obvious some of you are bitter about some of them, I don't know why. I really would like to thank, I was backstage really with in order to keep me from not losing my mind, they actually gave me Bill Sheft as a pet. And Ann Cohen, and it was the 19 hours we spent together has been a life changer for me. So it's now officially after, so you head over to the Haven rooftop above the Sanctuary Hotel, 132, write this down, because some of you fuckers are gonna get lost. 132 West 47th Street, it's just 1 block away for the party. I'd like to congratulate you all. Thank you for letting me. It's been a privilege and a pleasure spending time with you. Good night. Enjoy your President's Day.